Hello, how you doing? Welcome to the RoRoShow.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Are you excited? Are you excited to kind of go in there and
Yeah, I've
talk?
never been on a show before, so
Really? It's your first webcast?
yes, first one. But I've been on TV before because I was in the Got One back in my uni days.
Really? While you were on TV, what did you do?
Um, I was just one of the stand-alongs. Do you know when
Extras. You're an extra.
Yeah, I was an extra over there. So this was a long, long time ago, but it was quite funny.
Oh wow. Okay. Cool. So we work together, right? We're colleagues, if you would like to say.
Yeah,
And I feel like
yeah.
it's crazy. I mean, last time I saw you was, of course, probably in April. Was it April or March? No, it was probably February,
March.
March.
Yeah, last time was March, just before we had to abandon everything.
Yeah. And do you miss being in the office?
Yes. Yeah, I miss having everyone around and walking home on a rainy day, half an
Yeah.
hour down the road.
Do you think that we will ever get to that normality again? Do you reckon that you going to the office every day, driving in, that's going to
I
be?
don't think we would actually. Not really personally. I think everyone's a lot used to be more at home, but then there are some people who want to go back into the office, and it's nice to have that social interaction. But more or less, we do the job well at home, I would say, but we just do too much more
Do you
than what
think
we
you do
used
more?
to.
You do more work at home than
Yeah,
you can't switch off.
definitely.
You find it difficult to switch off.
I literally have my computer right next to me that I could just come on and do my work right now. Sometimes
Yeah.
I just peep at it on my emails at 11 o'clock just to see what's important, and I might send an email here and there.
Are you using this time to do a bit of training as well? Do you think that you can utilize this time to equip yourself?
Yeah, yeah. So at the moment, I'm studying for my Prince 2 practitioner. So even studying for that is quite difficult. How do you stay motivated? Because it's very hard, especially when you're constantly at home and you can't really go out, and you just think, do I fancy studying after I've finished working?
Yeah, I mean, do you think that you've found some sort of balance? Like, do you have a structure to your day? Do you try and go for walks and stuff as well as sit on your desk?
Yeah, so at the moment I start work at around about 8:30, have like a lunch about 12:30 for an hour, and then I finish around about 5 and go for a run with one of my other colleagues down the road. So we just have a hour run, 5 miles at least, and it's exhausting. That's just recently as well.
Really? Yeah. So
Yeah.
have you always been into running and doing like cardio type
No,
workouts?
no,
No.
definitely not. No, I'm more of like the yoga stuff. So just more of the relaxed stuff, but it's because of my sister who does more high intensity. That's why I started doing it.
So how did you meet this colleague down the road? Did you just sort of see that person? Oh, I know you, and then you sort of like
No, he's from part of my team within the job that I do. So yeah, didn't realize he lived actually very close. We're just like 10 minutes apart. So we just meet by the canal and we just go for a run down the canal.
That's really nice, even if it's raining as well, or no, it's
Yeah,
hassy weather.
one of those days was today. It was like specks of rain. And I was like, don't really fancy running, but because he wanted to relax, to de-stress himself, I joined in as well. So it's sort of like he motivates me and then I motivate him to do it as well. So if you have a running partner, it's actually quite good.
Yeah, I think I miss that as well. Like I used to go to the gym quite a lot, and just going with people. It's like a fun event, but
Yeah.
working at yourself and do things independently, it's quite lonely. But at the same time, I feel like I've grown to really like it as well. Like it's some me time. Like I can just go and
Mm.
listen to music and chill, and um, I don't know. It's got its own charm, I guess. But I guess you don't push yourself as much as you could.
There are times when I'm running and I really want to stop, but because my colleague's running, I can't stop.
Yeah.
So then he makes me accountable for having to run at the same time. So I'm like, I can't give up. I can't give up. I'm almost there.
Yeah, yeah. No, Yeah, that is cool. That is cool. It's good to I think it's good to have a running partner. I think I can see the charm in it. But it's quite crazy how you're like someone that you work with closely, you know, in terms of your actual role, lives so close to you, which is awesome. But
I think meeting different people influence you. So that's something that I wouldn't really do after work for an hour. I would never really imagine running for an hour. And now I do it almost every other day or every day sometimes, just depending on how I feel.
Do you think you think you become more social during lockdown because you've obviously missed that connection, so it's forcing you to go out there and meet people?
Not meet just random people. It's literally people
or just connect with people that you've met before. Like, you know, I think I think I wonder how lockdown has changed us. I always wonder that, like, how you know, next year, how is things going to be, even socially as well as, you know, like work environment and stuff like that. Do you ever think about that?
You just need to write down what you have done last year and then sort of compare it and see what changes. But instead of like doing it negatively, think positively. As to, you look back at photos sometimes and you think, oh, I was going on holiday back then to France or something, and then it's like, what have you done this year? But you don't need to go on holidays. You can do other things just to make up for it. Just something that you can do yourself.
So do you journal quite a lot then? Are you one of those that writes a lot down?
No, I'm one of them who just posts photos and then I just remember it, especially when I'm trying to remember certain things, like a milestone in your life, so you just don't forget it.
Yeah, I've been trying to write a diary recently, actually, and also a to-do list. I feel like it's so easy to just be swept up in your day, but I'm trying to spend some time in the morning just to write down what I'm going to do, like what are my intentions. I think I've been watching too much YouTube motivational videos on journaling and stuff. But I think it's been quite helpful. I think you're more you take yourself. You're more accountable. You feel more responsible for what you actually do. And if you don't do something, you kind of like, oh my god, I was supposed to dedicate some time there, but I didn't actually do anything.
But you shouldn't beat yourself over it because you haven't done it. At least every small thing that you do makes up for it in the first place. It's like even 5-10 minutes of doing that every day is enough, and it's progress.
Yeah, so maybe try not to be too hard on yourself, and, you know, if you don't necessarily fulfill on all those actions, I think that's hard though, because even with like the nature of our role, you know, we look at, you know, planning things and trying to make sure they're done in time. Do you feel like you get swept up in the whole project management world, you know, of like trying to govern your life, or you know, once your computer is off, it's off, and you don't think about work?
No, I literally think of work constantly sometimes. I think of what I need to do next, what I have to plan, and what's important. So I think that's with life as well. Like, I plan so far in advance in my life, but then I'm trying to roll it back, because there's a book that's called like The Power of Now, and trying to remain in the present, because you can't plan for everything. Like, we never foresaw COVID lasting this long. So back then I was already planning my holiday for this year, and then now I don't even have a holiday. I can't even plan anything. So it's just rolling it back in and thinking, what can I do today or tomorrow? And then that's it. I limit it just for a few days.
So you don't long-term plan, or you just do it less?
Do it less. So at the moment, I'm not long-term planning for anything at all. I'll just take it day by day and see how I feel. So it's more like, how do I feel today? And then I'll just do that.
Is that a book you read recently, or is it just with kind of lockdown and not being able to plan things?
That was a few years back, I think. So a few years back, I was more like chilled. Like, certain events in my life sort of changed me, and then that's the route that I went down.
Oh my god, tell me about these events. Tell me more.
Wow, imagine having been with your ex for like 10 years for him to dump you 2 months before you're supposed to get married, and then that impacted my life. So instead of wasting my honeymoon that I booked, I went with my sister to Bali and just enjoyed it. So
Wow. So
since then,
10
I haven't
years.
been 10 years.
And then 2 months before wedding. Goodbye.
Yeah, literally 2 months before the wedding. And on my sister's birthday, and guess what day that would be? It's literally the most memorable day that you can think of this year. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, think about it. What's the most memorable day that we're going to have coming soon
I,
for the whole of the UK?
the day we don't not in lockdown.
Yeah, so when's that? Like, when's
I don't know.
that restriction? You don't know?
I think it's in June or something, right?
Yeah, but when? What day?
This is really hard. Put me under pressure. Is it 22nd? I just a random guess.
21st. You're close,
Oh,
but
wow.
not close enough.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's also the longest day of the year.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Summer solstice, is that right? Is that the correct term?
I think it's the end of summer, isn't it? Or the beginning? I think it's the end of summer.
End of summer is the summer solstice.
Yeah,
Do
I
we
think so.
I think so. Do we celebrate the longest day of the year? Oh, do we do that? Should we,
No, but it's just you should. It's one of the things that you should know. But I'm not very smart, so don't quote me on that.
Yeah, nor am I. But that's interesting. So, I mean, when was that then? If you don't mind me asking, when
That was back in 2019.
2019.
Yeah, so 2019.
Yeah, and I guess you were working for Fern at that time as well, right?
Yeah, I've been working. Wow, 8 years now.
8
So
years.
yeah, coming up to 8 years. Yeah, can you believe it?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, I just trying to put myself in your position. That must be such a challenging thing to go through. Do you think that? I mean, I don't want to pry too
I
much.
had the support of my colleagues back then. Like everyone that I had so much support from. So even through the breakup, it sort of meant that I grew stronger, and I focused on work to pull me through. So I use work to motivate me to do better and to improve myself.
Yeah. So is that your approach now as well? Like you're it's a new chapter for yourself, and you're kind of you don't feel like you don't necessarily look back and have regrets. You just sort of.
No, you don't ever regret what you've done, because that's the thing. Like you can never regret, because at that moment in time you were always happy to do it, or that was sort of the route you were going down. So you can't regret something that you were okay with. You can't change the past. So that's why you should never have regrets.
Yeah, and so do you think that one of the biggest changes after that, that kind of experience, is being more present and being in the moment? Do you think that you've reflected and that's the biggest change, or is there other things that you've kind of felt like you've wanting to do?
I think that's one of the main things, to be honest. Like if you think about what's happening now, like a lot of people have lost their lives due to COVID and stuff. They didn't think that it would happen. Like they probably had plans what they were going to do next, like holidays, and then the next minute they're gone. So is there really a need to plan anymore?
So what do you think how do you think that you change in terms of like is there something that you want to do in after lockdown that you never thought you were going to do? Is there something happened in the last couple of months that you feel like actually I really want to do something else now that you never thought of before?
No, I think I'll just take it a day by day and then figure it out then.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, I think you're right. I think being more present. I feel like we've all been through something here. Like the whole world has been through something pretty significant, and there's a sort of change in our even like collective consciousness to a certain degree, because we're all forced to be, in looking at ourselves really and being indoors. And I wonder what that impact would be.
But have you ever thought also at the same time, like, if you're planning so far in advance, like the next day you could think, don't fancy doing that. So even though you're planning, so you could say, oh, I'm going to go bungee jumping. As an example, like, once lockdown's over, I'm going to go bungee jumping. You say that now, but when the time comes, are you going to actually do it? So
It's true, actually. That's a good point. Maybe I have all these aspirations and dreams about what I think life will be like if we go back to normality or some sort of normality, but really they're just totally unrealistic. But who knows? Who knows? We'll see what happens, really. But so during lockdown, I know you have lots of different hobbies. You're into cooking, for example. And you've been cooking for for many years now, right? It's not just the new hobby for you, right?
yeah, so at the moment I enjoy baking. So I do a lot of baking, especially cakes, with lower sugars or using different ingredients, not your usual ingredients. Like I've seen stuff that you can use cauliflower, courgettes, beetroots and stuff. And I just find using more vegetables into your cakes is a lot more interesting and healthier.
Yeah,
and swapping out stuff as well.
Yeah. So, why do you enjoy cooking? What is it? Does it give you some sort of? Does it make you feel good? You know, because I think cooking is a very creative thing. Like you're looking at different ingredients, you're putting it together, you're experimenting. Basically, so if you enjoy eating, why are you taking the sugar out and making it all healthy?
I enjoy eating, but at the same time, I don't want to be unhealthy at the same time as like my dad, because he is. I think he's like diabetic.
You think he's diabetic?
No. He's got high blood pressure. I get it wrong. But my mum was diabetic, I think, or high blood pressure. It's one of the two. But yeah, if you have too much sugar, it's just really bad for your health in the first place. Plus, do we actually need that much sugar? It makes it taste better, but even if you cut down a little bit day by day, it makes a huge difference to your life. It's less calories at the same time, almost.
I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, like sugar just has lots of calories in it, and it spikes your insulin levels. Is there something recently that you've like read that's impacted it's just your family and
No, it's always been the case, to be honest. I think because my family's quite healthy in the first place, my mum didn't really put a lot of horrible seasoning like MSG and stuff in foods, because it's just so bad for you. And that sort of came down to me as well. Like I don't like adding too much stuff into my food to make it, I guess, bad for your health is the way to put it, but it's still tasty. You can still have tasty food, but without a lot of the other ingredients.
Yeah. Do you think that you have to like have some experience to be good at cooking? Because I feel that I'm pretty good cook. I think I'd like to consider myself to be a good cook, but I don't know what is good. Do you think that there is like you acquire particular things that you like? For example, that you have to build a kind of a palate.
I think as long as you try different foods, not eating the same food and willing to try, then that's the main thing. Like, what good food tastes like when it's not microwaved, basically.
Yeah, I mean, so like you obviously, your Instagram is amazing. You take a lot of pictures of food, and you're very experimental. But like, when do you know something is good? Like, okay, this is something that I actually want to document and put on my Instagram.
When you know it tastes good. When you know it tastes good.
But you can't taste it unless you've like ruined the picture and actually like put a spoon in it. But
yeah, but at the same time, is it not more to your taste, more to your family and friends? So you can share it. Like if I saw you in the office, I'll bring some in. But yeah, at the same time, even though you can't taste it, you can see. You can share the recipes, you can try it out yourself and see if you enjoy it. But
so yeah, is that one of the big reasons you do it? Is it because it gives people some, joy to a certain degree as well? Or
yeah, I like sharing different recipes, especially when people probably wouldn't try it in the first place. Mm-hmm. It's like trying to get them to eat healthier without them knowing what's in it as well.
Secret ploy for healthiness.
Yes.
Your attempt. But yeah, you generally are quite creative. Like you do Photoshop as well, and that's a new thing you'd be starting to do, right, during lockdown.
Yeah, so I've just been doing a lot of more artwork, just building up on my skill set, to be honest. Something that I used to do when I was at uni, when I was studying fashion. So because I haven't used Photoshop in a long time, I just wanted to build up on those skills again. Because I'm not really very good at it, but at least I
You are
can.
good at it.
No, but just like messing around.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that could be a long-term sort of like, a money-making source as well? Do you ever think that your creative, abilities you could like turn into a business? Yeah, or are you pretty happy with?
Sometimes, yeah. I think sometimes I can think of many ideas, and a lot of my ideas probably people do anyways. But then it's sort of like, how do you make yourself unique and be different almost? How do you influence people to come in and buy from you? So yeah.
Is that always in the back of your mind then? Is that what you want to do? You aspire to like create a product that you can sell to people? Are you pretty happy with your job and you're going to be staying Vodafone?
I enjoy doing what I do at work, so that's one of the things that I'm happy about. But business is probably not my domain. Like, I'm not very good at keeping motivated to try and earn money. I prefer just having a 9 to 5 job, do my job well, and then not thinking about it. Because even if you have a business or running a business, it's quite hard, especially when you don't know if you're going to make ends meet every single day. And there's so much to think about, especially like postage. What happens if it gets lost? And
yeah, the small little things like that, right?
Packaging. Where are you going to have the space to have it? Your house is going to be full of like packaging stock. Like, there's so much to think about.
Yeah, but don't you also think that having a business is creative in itself? Like it's almost like fusing a lot of the creative energies that you have. You're thinking about the product, you're thinking about how it should be packaged, you're thinking about like marketing it and using like your Photoshop skills there. Like there's so many things that you can do.
I think I'm more of a smaller scale, as like personalized things for friends and family. I prefer just doing it for people that I know, because then it's just one of a kind almost, so no one else really has it apart from I could make you a card and it's literally one of a kind. No one else is ever going to have that. So
you like that unique aspect to things, like just keeping it. I mean, have you heard of Etsy.com?
Yes, yeah. Who hasn't heard of it?
Are you a fan of Etsy.com?
Yeah, I've seen stuff that I quite like actually from there. And I'm like, sometimes I think, oh, I could do that. I could do that.
You could so totally make an account on Etsy, but you don't want to, do you?
No, I might do one day. You might see me on there.
Yeah, maybe you have the secret life where you're like making money and doing different things.
Maybe one day we'll see.
Yeah, no, I think
it's got too much going on. Like, I have plans everywhere, and I don't keep to one thing. I think if I focused enough, I might be able to make it happen. But because I'm constantly bouncing around like a ping pong board, then no. It's not going to happen because I don't focus all my time into one thing, whereas people who actually do business is focusing all their time into that business, whereas I'm working and I'm focusing my time on studying, but then I also want to dabble a little bit into photoshopping and then doing other things. So I'm not actually putting 100% into it, whereas a lot of people are.
Yeah, you're like a serial multitasker. I find that challenging. For me, I have to like restrict. I have to do like maybe a couple of things every day and really concentrate on it and focus on it. I think multitasking there's like potential that things can go wrong. But maybe do you think that's a male-female thing?
No, I think guys can do it just as well.
Yeah, in terms of multitasking.
Yeah, I'm like, you're a project coordinator. You can do the job really well. So I don't think it's really down to female, like gender, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's just down to the person.
I think you're right. I think it's a personality thing, because I feel like for me, especially when I was younger, I was more chaotic in the sense that I wasn't very organized. I didn't have structure in my life. And now I feel like maybe it's this role, but I've become pretty, like much more organized, much more structured. I like to plan things ahead, and it could just be because of my job, or it could be an age thing. But do you think that like people that are naturally creative or have creative interests maybe perceive things differently?
Sometimes I think, yeah. I think in terms of how like when you're first born, I guess, you're like a blank canvas. So as you grow older, depending on what you are influenced by, so if you go to school and you enjoy doing more art, or you go in sport or different routes, you sort of intake that and sort of becomes your life. So then you suck it up almost, I would say. So it's just like similar, like even though you never were organized, the more you do it, the more you get better at it. So it's just like you taking in the information, and that sort of dictates your life, I would say almost.
Yeah, but then some people say also like what you do when you're like in your younger years, say 1 to 6 years old, is kind of how you're going to be most of your life.
No.
You don't believe that at all?
No,
you think there's always
definitely
room to change?
Yeah, if you look at people who have grown up, they have one career. Then, let's say 20 years down the line, they switch careers. You see people who are 60 that are going to university and getting master's degree. And then it's like, if they can do it, or you see other people who never used to go to the gym, like they're 80 and they go in gym and they're like lifting heavy. And I'm like, how do these people do it? Like, age doesn't really have a matter. And I'm like, if you have an interest in it, then you go for it.
Is that what inspires you then? Those kind of people that can just like stay in the present and just change and do what they feel like.
Yeah.
That's kind of the person that you aspire to be to a certain degree.
Yeah, I think I guess it never stops you from doing what you want to do. Like, if you want to do it, you will do it. It doesn't matter what it takes. Or if that's the route you want to go, follow your dreams almost. It's like no one's stopping you anyways, and life is too short to say, well, I can't do that, I can't do this or that.
Yeah, so if you're passionate about it, you should just go for it and do it.
Yeah. But I know sometimes it's probably based on money at the same time. Like, you can't do that because it's money, I won't have a job, etc. But there are some people who don't really need a lot of money to be happy in the first place.
So is that, would you say that you value enjoyment, passion, doing your hobbies and learning new things to having a lot of wealth? Like, would you, if you did have a lot of wealth, then you have the ability to do those things, and you can delve into whatever you want to do because you have that, you have money that can help protect you and provide you some comforts in life.
Money, but to an extent, you have things, but can those things hug you back almost?
Yeah, it's almost like the artist debate, right? Like, people are so kind of willing to just go into their art and like, make music, for example, and not think about the money aspect, but they could. That means
music connects you. Money just buys you things, and things become junk. And then one junk, you just sort of get rid of it. You chuck it away almost. So it's like buying things constantly. I was like, is it really necessary? Do you really need it? For example, if you got a property and you're trying to buy furniture, do you really need multiple tables? Is one enough? It's like, why do you need so much in the first place?
True. I think there is this like over consumerism type thing. Have you watched Minimalism on Netflix?
Yes. Yeah.
I watched half of it. I need to probably watch the rest of it. But what do you think so? What do you think so far?
I quite enjoyed it. I think we should live life simpler. I quite enjoy that side of things, and I think I'm trying to declutter a lot more. Is I don't actually need a lot of things to make me happy, because you can have hobbies and then they become your things, but only have the things that is necessary for you. So as you grow up in your life, you probably will have less and less things in the first place.
Is that because of technology though? Do you think because you can do things virtually, you can play games, you can like do so much on this black mirror?
Is it good for your eyes?
Well, yeah, but the question is, I mean, do you think that like we are lucky in the sense that we can do so much with such small amounts of items that we can live in a minimal lifestyle, but someone 30 years ago maybe couldn't have done that because they needed so many little items to do things?
I guess you could say that, like, even if in the younger generation or the newer generations, they are growing up with more technology, so you don't need a lot of other things. Are kids really playing with toys anymore, going outside, or are they playing more with the Xbox or PlayStations? So, but at the same time, how much can you actually play before you get bored of it?
That's true. Do you think that there's some sort of like 90s nostalgia going on, that we kind of look back at that age and like, oh, it'd be really cool to have a 35mm camera?
I still got one. I literally brought one a few years back because I wanted to take film cameras, film pictures, because that's sort of like the style that I like, is just like developing it.
Can you actually develop film?
You can, yeah. Boots still do it.
Oh, as in, do you develop it?
No, I don't. No.
Yeah, I got into 35mm a couple of years ago, and it was just quite expensive. I kept buying film, and then I bought a medium format camera, which set me back, and now I probably should sell it because I don't actually use it. But it is really cool. There's something about film. There's something about the aesthetic. I don't know what it is. I think it's the texture, but you just can't. Yeah. It's so hard to replicate it.
It's just a physical photo. Nowadays it's all on the phones. Like sometimes you just want a picture to look at in front of you and not having to scroll up from your phone.
That's true.
So if you were taking photos, are you ever going to look back at it? Like, how often do you look back at those photos that you've taken last year almost?
It's a really good point, actually. That's a really good point. Like, it depends on how much you value photography. I feel like with social media and Instagram, because we live in the present, you know, we look at a story which lasts 24 hours and then we forget about it. But you could, in theory, like print it and, you know, review it every couple of days and, like, you know, put some more meaning into it, create some more meaning in it, if that makes any sense. but it really does depends on the individual and how much they value the art.
Yeah. I love art. Like, I really love art. I think that's, growing up, I've always enjoyed it. I think that's the direction that I went down, as thinking that would be my career, but that never happened.
What, in textiles?
Textiles or fashion, yeah.
Fashion.
Going into fashion, but yeah, I went into the technology world and then I loved it.
Sold out.
Yeah.
Into the corporate world.
But technology is so much better for how I see it. It's like the new generation. It's what we're living in and what we need.
Yeah, there's room to be creative in technology too, right? Or do you think in your role there's no like, you don't?
There's actually so much to learn actually in the roles. There's so much you can learn from the role. You can even move in different directions if you wanted to. Like, if you didn't enjoy what you did, you can build up on that knowledge and then change or side move into a different direction. So nothing's stopping you from just staying into one position.
But do you think that you are able to utilize, like, the skills that you gained in in textiles and fashion?
Yes. Sometimes I can sew my own trousers if I break it. I can make pillows.
Yeah, but do you ever want to go back into that world though? Do you think it's ever possible?
No. I don't think I would. I think I didn't really enjoy it as much, but I like to do it in my spare time, because when you were in that time, so when we were at uni and you had late nights and you had a project to deliver the following day and you had to sew quickly, then you sewed the wrong fabric onto the wrong side, then you had to unpick it, sew it together to realize you did it right, to then unpick it again and then redo it.
It sounds quite technical. So you didn't like the technical side of things,
I enjoy the technical, but it's just,
the time pressure.
yeah, I think it was too much. I'm like, I didn't, yeah, it's not for me.
It's not for you.
Yeah, I think
It was
growing
that
up,
that one day, that one project. You're like, screw this, I'm out of it.
a little bit, yeah. I think I imagined, could I do this every day for the rest of my life? And I thought to myself, no, I need to get out.
Yeah, let me become a project manager instead.
That didn't even cross my mind for so long. Like, I think depending on what role you do, what job you go into, the people that you meet, it sort of makes you move into that direction. So I never thought once I wanted to be a project manager or anything like that. But because I was doing a role, I met people in my role that sort of
what was your
influenced
role?
me. So I used to work in customer service. So from there, I met other people, different teams, and they sort of, I asked them what job they did, moved from that direction, and started working my way into something that I wanted to do then. But yeah, as a kid, when schools ask you, what do you want to be when you're older? And you say, I want to be this, I want to be that. What's the percentage a lot of those people actually do those
Actually
jobs?
become them. Yeah, that's an interesting point. The only issue is, like, I think I was one of those people too that just, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I just did it anyway. I studied, pharmacy and did some business stuff after that. But I always wonder, is it good to bounce around? Because you do become more of a generalist. Like, you gain all this exposure and experience, but you don't focus on one area and become a specialist. And do you ever feel like you're hindered to a certain degree? Because it'd be really good to just have this one feel that you can do that you can't replicate. No one can replicate.
F1 can replicate. There was always someone there are thousands of people studying that same thing as you, and there are more people going to be after that same job. So why not be doing something that you enjoy and not what you think, oh, because I've studied it, I need to go into that direction. I think that's what I realized for so long is I studied fashion and I thought I had to be stuck in the fashion industry. But then I thought, no, I don't actually enjoy being in it. Why should I put, even though you think it's a waste of money studying for what you did at uni, it doesn't, you still got those skills that you've had from it. You can take it to something else. It's not wasted.
Yeah, it's like no experiences are wasted, right? Because you can gain so much from anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a good way to look at it, I guess. I think sometimes it's easy to overthink these things, but I think sometimes just living the moment, just bouncing around, learning new things might be the best thing to do. Or do you think it's good to think about these things and sort of analyze yourself a little bit?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes you can always look back at your life and think, what have I done that's good? And then what can I do better, almost? Like, you don't focus on too much of the negativity. You always look at the positive in life. Like, I would say, like, I was teaching abroad for a while during my summer holidays when I was probably like 18, and that was so enjoyable for me. So I look back at certain parts of my life and think, actually, I've done really well at that. So you always have to think back and see, what can I do better now? I'll try and use that, even though it's probably a moment in my life that I thought that was very tough, but actually, where have I got to now?
Yeah, but this is a difficult question maybe, but do you think sometimes it is good to look at the negatives and be cynical to a certain degree and think about how that's affected you? Or do you think actually it probably would hinder you more than actually helping you grow?
I think the negative in your life would also be a positive. Like, if that didn't happen, would you be where you are today? Like, how did you overcome it in the first place?
So you can learn from the negative stuff that happened in your life and you can progress further.
That's with anything, really. Like, any lessons, like, if you do something wrong, are you going to learn to do it again. So let's say there's fire. You like have a wood on, like a candle. Let's say you've got a candle and you touch the flame and it hurts. Are you going to do that again?
Well, yes. No, of course not. Of course not.
So you've learned, I'm like, if you do it once and it hurts, you know not to do it again. So I think in life, if you've experienced it, you know how to avoid it at the same time.
Yeah, I sometimes I think like it's there's a lot of people that are just happy and like try to be happy and don't necessarily analyze those bad things that happen and just try to stay positive. I guess there's some merit to that because you can just manifest this or cultivate this happiness and it makes you feel good. But I guess there's some things that can be learned from the bad things that happen to you too, right? And as you said, like you've learned about how you've grown from it too. That makes any sense?
Life is about growing, though. I was like learning and growing. Like you've always going to have the good and the bad. Nothing in life is all about the bad. You would have had good in your life and nothing. And if you had a good life, you would have had something bad in the first place. So it's about balance.
Do you think it'd be boring if everything was just good? Do you think you need to have some bad to have like?
How do you learn otherwise?
Yeah.
How do you know when you're going to be happy? Like if you're happy all the time,
you don't know
you
what
could be
sadness
happier. Yeah, you don't know what sadness is, and how can you be happier if you never experienced something before?
That's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah, so it's almost like to have positivity and happiness, you need to have the counterbalance of negativity.
Yeah. You need to have both. Like if you always have something good, you don't know what better it is.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. You're so wise. Why are you so wise?
I don't know. That's probably me. You think I'm wise? I'm not.
Well, no, it's good to look at that perspective. But so I was going to ask you about another thing, which is totally kind of random now, but about your rollerblading.
I'm a rollerblading. Yeah.
So you're a fan of rollerblading. How did you get into rollerblading?
Yeah. I used to roller skate when I was. Actually, it was rollerblades. I used to rollerblade when I was younger, and then it was just recently. I've always wanted to buy roller skates again, and then it was just like a spur of the moment. Last month, I thought I'm going to buy rollerblades. But then I brought it, and then I've just been practicing indoors for the meantime. And then I fell once, and then I was like, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah, I remember, I think when I was like 14, 15, we've got some family in America, and I remember buying some rollerblading. We go in the summertime, and it's scary.
It is scary because sometimes it's the balance as well. Yeah. Like, if you make one wrong move, almost when you're rollerblading, you fall. And I did it on the street, and my sister was laughing at me because she was watching me roll down, and I couldn't stop. And I literally had to grab onto a lamppost just to stop.
Oh my god!
So yeah,
your sister wasn't helping you or like trying to support you.
No, she was laughing,
like pointing and laughing.
Yeah, exactly that.
What is it quite challenging to move from roller skating to rollerblading, or you know?
So roller skating has 4 wheels, so like 2 at the front. It's like a car, I would say, and then rollerblades are like 4 wheels behind each other. It's like a human centipede. Have you ever watched that?
Yes, I have seen that film actually.
Well, that's what it reminds me of. But yeah, I think rollerblading is a lot harder because you've only got the wheels at the balancing it all, whereas roller skates you've got 2 other, like it just makes it easier for you to maneuver. So I didn't really want to injure myself, so I got roller skates.
So roller skating. Oh, so you bought both, but you've got experience doing roller skating, right?
I didn't know. Roller skating I'm practicing now, so now I can do a backwards turn. I can even go sideways almost. But that's indoors. When I tried it outdoors, I almost tripped myself.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So yeah, the 2 is so different. I don't think I'm going to go outside too much yet until the weather picks up because it's too cold.
Is there any way to practice inside?
Yeah, we've actually got space in the living room that I can just roll around in.
Seriously. That's interesting. It's an interesting sight. Just imagine like your sister watching TV and you're just going back and forth, interrupting.
Yeah, I'm just like practicing indoors so I can take it outdoors later on.
That's pretty cool. I think it's a good way to practice. I think it's good not to break your neck. So do you have pads as well then? Have you bought some pads?
No, not yet anyways. That's in progress. I thought I'll just play it safe and then later on I'll get some pads for when I go outside. But at the moment, because I'm indoors, I'm much safer. I can grab onto anything like a chair or fall onto the sofa and I'm okay.
Yeah, you like these little challenges. I mean, you're into gaming as well, right? Do you play games with your sister?
Yeah, we play Call of Duty. So we
The dark side.
yes. So my sister's actually pretty good at it.
Really?
So I just compete sometimes with her.
Yeah, I'm so bad at Call of Duty. I don't know why. I think I'm just too chilled out.
Sometimes when I'm on a roll, I'm like, yes, I can do it. I can do it. I'm doing really well. And then it's like some nights it's just so bad. I can't actually get more than 5 kills. It's just like really embarrassing. I was like, that's not me, thank you.
Are you a sniper? Are you one of those people that just sits in the corner? Or you go around and...
I'm one that runs around and then shoots.
Have you ever played COD Zombies?
Yes. It's actually pretty scary. I don't like it. It's too scary. It seems
scary.
too real almost.
Yeah, I used to be quite obsessed with that. I remember going back from school and playing that. But my friends were just ridiculously good. I always find that the people that are really good at like maths tend to be really good at it. There's like a particular personality. Certain
Are you
people.
sure? I've never seen that before. Someone who's good at maths is good at gaming.
Yeah, it's particularly Call of Duty for some weird reason. I just feel like it's a very... I don't know. It's like your reaction time needs to be really good. You need to be really calculated and like strategic. Do you ever think about the strategy of that, or you just go out and kill?
No, I have never once thought about that. It's like I can't even throw a grenade.
Have you got a Twitch account?
No.
Have you ever considered going down that line and joining the virtual gaming world?
You can, instead of gaming, you can watch me eat. Like I eat like a pig, so you can watch me eat all day.
Yeah, so there is a lot of people that do that, right? They video themselves eating.
Yeah.
Do you watch those kind of videos?
No, I don't. No. I think I know what it is. It's like mukbang or something like that.
Yeah, something. Yeah. What is that all about? Why are people intrigued? I can never understand it. Why do people want to watch other people eat? Like, can you understand the human psyche behind that?
No. I think because they probably can't eat, they want to see someone else eat it. It's like Matilda. You remember that little fat kid who had to eat that fudge cake?
Yeah.
I think that reminds me of that almost.
What? So people that are hungry will watch those kind of things?
Yeah. Why do you watch it? Or
I don't watch it. I scroll past it. I'm just trying to think of the kind of subsect of humans. Like, why would they be interested in watching something like that? Like,
I do actually watch people on YouTube look at places or find new places to eat at. So is that similar, would you say? Or is it more like eating constantly? Like I've got like cereal, I'm going to eat this and then that.
Yeah, it's watching people eat, literally. There's like this phenomena online where people just watch people stuffing themselves. And I'm just trying to understand either it is...
It's really bad for your health. Like, even in my mind, I'm like, it's really bad for your health. You can't consume that much in the first place.
That's true. It's probably
all
very,
that sugar.
very
I'm like, where does all that calories go?
Yeah, all the dieting, all the diet advice goes out the window. Yeah.
So I don't think I would treat myself like that. I'm like, I need to treat myself better and eat better.
I think so. I think you definitely feel better when you have good food. There is something. There's like an energetic thing. Like you just feel really good.
You have to always look after yourself because no one else will. So that's the one thing that I've realised.
That's true. But then sometimes you think like, have you ever considered like counting calories? Do you know much about counting calories?
Yeah. So I've seen it, and I don't think I really do it.
Wait,
Sometimes I
you don't count
think about
calories?
it. No, I don't count calories, but I sort of know how much calories are in certain things, and I'm like, in my head, I'll probably like, wow, that's probably like 400 in the meal that I've just eaten, and then I'll think about it. But then at the same time, you've got loads of people on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, and they say don't do that because it's not a healthy lifestyle. So I think I'm more towards eat what you want, exercise, and make it a lifestyle instead of just counting. It's like if you have a purpose, it's just short term. Like you can count calories, but what is your main purpose?
Yes, I've been counting since October last year.
How's it working out for you?
Yeah, it's great. It's actually really good. I highly recommend it. It's really good.
We're like the opposites right now.
Exactly. No, I think as you said, it's about your goal, though, right? Like for me, I wanted to lose, and then I wanted, hopefully after that, like start to gain some muscle. So I had like a goal in mind. But I think you're right. I think you need to have a healthy relationship with food. I think after a while, you start to recognize how many calories are in certain food.
Yeah.
But it does make you feel less guilty about eating particular things, even though they're not necessarily good for you. But I can eat, a couple of crisps and feel like, okay, look, I'm putting it in my calories count, so I'm not going to gain any weight from this. It's just like a 5% of my day. But I think you need to be wired in a particular way. Like I'm quite into these like metrics and learning about the best way of doing things, and sometimes some people will just like chill and just want to like enjoy eating, but but maybe it's just maybe the way that I'm wired, that I can really get into things, like really want to just like absorb and understand things. Do you ever get into that mindset?
I try to. I think it lasts like 2 days and then I'm back to my normal self because there's so much people influencing, or like I see something and I think, well, that person's right. I'm going to follow them. Or then I see someone else and I think, no, actually, they're right. So I think it just pulls me into a direction wherever I see. So actually, social media does actually have a huge impact on people's lives, especially what direction you want to go into. So now I'm more focused in the middle of creating a lifestyle than going on diets and stuff. Like, it's probably not going to be healthy. You're just going to relapse back into it. So why not make it every day?
That's true, exactly. And it depends on what you enjoy in life as well. Like if you enjoy cooking, then of course you don't want to like have to do this extra challenge of having to count your calories and add up all this stuff.
Yeah.
You just want to enjoy the process and not even get in that flow and not necessarily
I think that's what happened to me. Like last year I was more like baking and stuff, and then at the same time I was like, oh, I can't eat that. But then when can I ever eat it? Like if I'm constantly counting, when can I ever eat it almost?
It's true. I mean, it depends. I mean, there's one thing that you can do with MyFitnessPal where you can actually like, you could make a meal, or you could put a recipe in. So like you weigh out everything that's inside a cake, for example, and then you weigh it at the end, and then like
I'm not going to have 10 grams of cake, am I?
I do sometimes. No, but like you could do like, say you split it into 4 slices or something, just put it as 4 and you divide it by 4, so you know like how many calories are in each slice, and then you can factor it in. But I think it also depends on like your body type. If you're prone to gaining weight, then of course you're going to have different strategies. But I don't think you're one of those people, are you?
I don't know.
I mean,
I'll let you know.
You've been doing yoga. Like you don't do like you before cardio and running. You were just doing yoga, right?
Yeah, I was just doing yoga previously, and then now it's more HIIT and running. So they're the two exercises I tend to do now. So yeah, I guess different lifestyle. It's just changed throughout the years.
Yeah. Have you ever considered getting into weights?
Maybe. My arms are really weak at the moment, so I can't. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not for everyone, I guess. But yeah,
Practice makes perfect, so that's the only thing I could say.
absolutely. I've been trying to get into yoga actually. There's a person online that does like a Zoom class every week. So I've been trying to learn to do it, but
It's not the same though.
what as physically being in a class.
Yeah, because is that yoga instructor going to tell you you're doing it wrong?
Well, so what she does is she does the class and she has all our videos up so she can see us really, and then like one of the last two routines, she would go and look at the screen and look at each in person and say, oh, you need to do this way, but it's not as good as probably being in a class.
When you're actually in the class, they help you move your positioning, so they move for you to get you in the right direction, whereas you're going to have to do it yourself. So it's actually a lot harder. You're not actually going to get into the positions that you should be doing unless someone's there to tell you, because in your brain you need someone almost to make you accountable for it, whereas a screen, like if you were telling me to do something, I'll be like, yeah, okay, but then if you were there in front of me, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So did you go to a lot of yoga classes initially?
I went to quite a few, yeah, but then I look at YouTube videos to do it, but I then don't know if I'm doing it right, if I'm following the YouTube video, because I think I'm doing it right, but they're not telling me I'm doing it wrong.
I see exactly what you mean. Yeah, unless you can video yourself and then like have like an personal trainer that can review it, I guess. I mean, maybe there's a way, but
you can video yourself, but how are you going to move it? Like I probably need someone to hold me into that place so that you can then sort of think, actually, I need to hold it there.
Yeah. So what kind of yoga did you learn initially? What was it, a particular type?
It begins with a V.
Vinyasa?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Vinyasa has a lot of breathing as well in there, right?
Yeah.
So do you incorporate that? Do you have like a routine that you do every couple of days or something?
I follow videos from YouTube because I find it easier to follow someone than doing it myself, because I need someone to follow almost, so I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm not one that can do it myself almost.
You need someone to instruct you.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
I don't know how I get into project management then, because I'm instructing other people.
Well, I guess, yeah, the plan is dictating everything, right? So you just, that's instructing everyone really, and you just telling everyone what the plan is. So
yeah, so it's very different. I'm like, I need someone to tell me, but I'm telling someone else.
But what does yoga like actually give you? Because when you do cardio, I feel generally when I do cardio, like you get this pump from it, and particularly with weights as well. I don't know if have you done weights before, but you do feel like this. You do feel quite strong and
almost.
Happy. Yeah, there is a certain emotion to it. But what does yoga give you?
I think yoga, when I was in Bali and I did yoga in the mornings, when the sun hit you, it was like the most amazing thing. It actually refreshes you, I think, especially when you're tired and after you've done it and stretched out, you can actually start the day fresh. So it's actually quite good for you. It makes you sort of forget everything almost.
Yeah.
So you should try it.
I think I might. Yeah. No. Well, I'm trying to learn, but I'm just trying to also understand like what are the benefits for me. Maybe I should just
until you try it. Until you try it, you won't know the benefits sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, what I can see anyway. From what I can see.
Flexibility.
Yeah, flexibility, of course. But then also, I just feel like, especially when working, like you can get so tight in particular positions.
That's why you should be doing it.
Yeah, so it kind of loosens you up, but. I wonder if there's like it kind of just it helps your blood flow to a certain degree because you're.
I think it does. Like in that sense, is it because you're breathing constantly, it just flows it throughout your whole body. Plus, it's actually going from the top to the bottom. It's like you're like a tree almost. So you have to put your roots down. I'm not sure. I think I look into it too much, to be honest.
That sounds pretty spiritual. I feel like we've extended our conversation for another half an hour now.
Until next time.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. No, that's interesting. Yeah, I think so. I think. I mean, I don't know if I totally understand it, but there is obviously this kind of like these chakra type thing they teach you with yoga, and you know, I do think there's a lot of blockages that could be emotional as well as physical, and I think sometimes that vinyasa and that breathing can just sort of loosen things up.
It's about connecting with your inner self more to the point. It's like focusing more on you and understanding what your body needs. So yoga is more about understanding yourself and just having more time for yourself at the same time, because when you close your eyes and you start breathing, you can sort of almost feel where it's going, and then you're focusing for you to go down to your feet almost, or going out, so leaving your body.
So you kind of set this intention where you want to put the energy in some ways, or is that what you learned in Bali? Is that something that they taught you there?
A little bit. So like through,
or is it more intuitive
classes as well?
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like the instructors will tell you, and then you sort of feel it almost. So unless you're engaging with them and you're willing to sort of listen and happy to go along with it, then you sort of will go through. But if you're sort of like, oh, yoga is really bad and stuff like that, it does nothing for me, then you're not going to really feel it as much, because in your mind you're already thinking negative about it.
Sometimes it's good just to switch off for a while and maybe review it at another period, to just sort of get into it and really just understand it. And
it's slow. I think people don't like yoga because it's a lot slower and it's making small movements almost, and they're more fast and getting things done, but then at the same time, don't you want to slow down in life almost and take it easy? So that's what yoga does for you.
Yeah, that's a nice way of looking at it. It's been really nice talking to you, by the way.
Thank you.
And hopefully one day you'll come back on the RoRoShow, right?
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see.
Never
Until
again.
Next time.
Doesn't speak to me, no Skype messages. It's the end of our friendship. That was really good. Yeah, thank you so much for your time as well.
You're welcome.
And I think I've learned a lot. So yeah, definitely come back on. But
will do.
Thank you.
Maybe catch me in a year's time and see where I'm at.
Exactly. We'd be like,
what new hobbies I've got.
I know. Totally living in the present. You'd be like living a different life completely. See what happens. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm gonna go now. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.